Afternoon. Good afternoon. I am a tax attorney, Nehemiah Jefferson, and I am here today with attorney Jamila Little. How are you today?
Doing wonderful, Attorney Jefferson. How are you? How's your week going?
It has been an interesting week, but I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. So today we want to share with you or talk about secrets to a good legal case. And so, attorney Little, I am anxious, very anxious to hear some of your secrets to a good legal case.
Yeah, case outcomes, right? We want to
Case
talk about
outcomes, yes.
case outcomes today, and I think one of the biggest things. I wonder if we should just wait a couple minutes to see if anybody pops on, but we'll keep going. I
All
think
right.
one of the biggest things for myself as an attorney and if I had to give clients or potential clients out there just a little bit of advice, a secret really that I think is really not a secret. It's it seems just like the thing to do, right? If you're gonna hire an
Right.
attorney that you follow their advice to the T.
Indeed.
And I think that this is something I wish we had some of our attorney friends out there who could probably chime in and say sometimes clients they don't listen. And I don't know if you've had experiences like that. I will not say all clients though, because I've had clients who were very, very intentional in
Right.
the things that they did because they were things that I said to do. And, most of them have good case outcomes. So I think that's a secret, right?
Right.
If you're going to hire an attorney to work on one of your cases, then you really should listen to what they have to say, take their advice. If you're going to pay for it, you might as well take it, right?
I totally agree. And it's so ironic that you mention this as a secret, so to speak. Just this past week, I've had two instances where clients have hired or sought my advice, paid for my advice, and essentially told me that my advice was incorrect and that they were not going to take my advice. And I was somewhat dumbfounded, puzzled, quite honestly. In practicing law and all these years of practicing law, this is the first time something like this has happened to me, let alone it happened twice in a week. So it's concerning from the standpoint when you 100% know that you're right. You showed them what the law is, and then they tell you otherwise. I just find that fascinating. And obviously, because you have had situations, you've seen the outcomes of what happens when people fail to take your advice, or when they don't follow or conform to the law, or when they find themselves in certain situations. You know what the outcome is, and it's
Right.
it's sometimes disheartening to see someone go down a path that is not right, and you try to help them, but then it doesn't happen for whatever reason. So it's definitely concerning or disheartening at times, because we all want the best outcomes for our clients. And we're not cheap, quite honestly, at times. And so you want to make sure that you're delivering good value, good service. And like I said, it's disheartening when someone doesn't take your advice that you know to be correct.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not only disheartening, but I think at some point it becomes a conflict, especially depending on what the client or potential client is actually doing. And for us as attorneys, it then becomes our duty to remove ourselves or to withdraw from that case. So you might find a
Absolutely.
situation, yeah, you might find yourself in a situation where you're telling a client to do something or not to do something, maybe to refrain from doing something, and they are basically just on their own. They're just doing what they want to do, right? They're
Yeah,
just out there on
exactly.
their own, right? Um, so yeah, at that point, especially if it's something that creates um, professional ethics conflict,
Sure. Sure.
we have to withdraw. We have to withdraw,
Right.
and it could become an issue for us if we decide to stay.
Sure.
Um,
And I've had to withdraw. And sometimes, on federal cases, the stakes are extremely high in some of these cases out, on the federal level, for at least for me, on the federal level, some of these cases, you know, the advice taken or not taken in some of these cases can really, really be the difference between, something really, really serious from a civil standpoint, as well as from a criminal standpoint. And I specifically remember a case where on a federal level where I found myself in disagreement or in conflict after giving advice to a client, and the client just flat out say, "Hey, I don't want to do that. I want to, I'm just not going to take your advice." And so obviously I had to withdraw from the case. So yeah, that's a good point, and it happens. It does come up.
right. And I don't want to, just go all gloom and doom. Maybe talk a little bit about the opposite, because for the most part, I do have, I do have good clients who they would take your advice. They come to you for help. They sought you out for help, and they would take your advice. And I remember one case that I did just quite recently, and as you know, one of my practice areas is immigration. I had a client who was being detained, somehow found themselves in a criminal matter, and this is somebody who is an immigrant. So, those two things really don't mesh well together, like oil and water, crimes and immigrants,
Right.
not a good thing for us.
Sure.
But that was the situation he found himself in, and needed some assistance because once ICE gets involved, you pretty much go off um, to immigration detention. So find yourself being detained in a state facility, and if there's a detainer that's placed on you, you can be taken to immigration detention after that, and
Wow.
from there you're before an immigration judge. But this client really listened to a T, to the things that I was saying to do, helped us. When you listen to the things that your attorney tells you to do, it actually helps your case. It makes it so much easier. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying by any stretch of imagination that this was easy to do, but because this client was so um, involved in a positive way in their case, we were able to have the detainer lifted, and that
That's
person
great.
is now free. Right?
Awesome.
I mean, there's a lot more that went into it than just those two sentences. But my
Right.
point being that the client was helpful to us, which helped his case. And today is no longer incarcerated. So, I say
That's
that
great.
to say not everybody, I don't want to put everybody in that bucket, all clients, but not everybody refuses to take the advice that they get. There's the flip side of it as well. So,
One thing I would encourage clients to have is patience in the legal realm. There are not a lot of things that happen quickly, or very quickly
Woo!
or
You're
overnight.
talking to an immigration
And,
attorney here.
and so, and especially when it comes to tax matters, dealing with the IRS or resolving
Mm,
tax matters, usually it's not a quick process. So I would caution or urge or encourage clients to be patient and understand that your attorney is uh, working on your behalf, and the legal process sometimes can be a lengthy process, but just to be patient with the process.
mm, absolutely. That is actually something that I say in all of my consultations. You have to be patient with the process. I mean, whether you're going through a criminal matter, personal
Right.
injury, as you mentioned, tax, and let's not even talk about immigration.
Right.
you
Right.
know, I mean, for the past few years, that was all over the news, and we know I mean, I think I could get on a whole soapbox about it, but our immigration
Right.
system needs to be dismantled and rebuilt. We need a redo. Please
Absolutely.
give us a redo.
Absolutely. No doubt.
So when you talk about delays, yeah, you just really have to be patient with the process and
Right.
trust that we're working. And if we could make the government go faster, we would. But
Right.
not very many people could do that. So, you know.
And patience, one of the things as it relates to patience is that we have to all keep in mind, from our standpoint, or either from the client standpoint, is that we're human beings. We're
Right.
not perfect, but it's important, I think, that we all have a heightened sense of humanity, that we need to be kind to one another, treat people the right way, and or really treat people the way we would desire to be treated. And so I think if we have a servant leadership or a servant mindset on both sides, then I think we have better overall working relationships as it relates to attorneys and clients.
Absolutely. And I think there's so much to be said about being, that sense of servanthood, that
Right.
you're here to serve your clients. You're here to help them over the obstacles to get from point A to point B, to get to where they need to go, and to do it with a heart of humility and kindness. I totally agree. I really, really agree. And I think that for me, I think that my clients, because of the practice areas that I do, are, they're people who are really needing assistance. I mean, obviously your clients as well, but I think that when I look at the average client who would come through our doors or call us on the phone, they really, really, really need help. So you have to approach the situation and all cases
Right.
from a point of kindness,
Absolutely.
compassion,
Absolutely.
and the desire to serve and to see the best outcome for your clients. And it really warms my heart when I can take a client from a really bad situation and turn it around for them in a way that will benefit not only them but their families, and they just see such a difference and they have a positive perspective moving forward.
Yes. Well, let me step back for a minute, or step out of the more corporate counsel conversation. And one thing clients need to understand about many attorneys, and I can't speak for every attorney, but I can certainly speak for myself, is that we're not trying to lose. We're actually trying to win. And I personally want to win every time I step into a legal situation, or every time that a client comes to me. We're talking about getting a good outcome, or getting a good case outcome. We're trying, we measure success in many different ways, but we're trying to win. And so that's one thing that I certainly want clients to understand, that we're trying to win. We're trying to get the best outcome for you each and every time. Again, I can't speak for every attorney, but there are many attorneys. We have, I mean, quite honestly, we have somewhat of a competitive spirit. I have a competitive spirit. I have a competitive mindset. We have, some of us have big egos, some of us have small egos, but I think for the most part, we're oftentimes trying to win, especially when we have a trial, especially when we are trying to negotiate. We want to feel like we have been successful. So hopefully that passion, not only the desire to serve, but hopefully the passion to win and get the best outcome for our clients. Hopefully that shows as well.
Yeah. Agreed, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that's something, and hopefully it comes across to our clients that we're
Right.
definitely working for their best interests. We want to win. Their win is our win,
Absolutely.
definitely. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add today.
Those
Um,
who are watching or those who were viewed, please like, please share, please get in contact with us with your questions. Please, by all means, share your comments. And if there's anything that you want us to talk about or anything that you desire to know, we would love to share that information with you. And that's part of us. I can speak for myself, and then I probably speak for Attorney Litter as well. You know, we would like to believe that we have servant hearts, and so we desire to help people because we understand that's a good thing when we're able to do something for somebody else.
Absolutely. And I agree. If there's questions, comments, definitely leave them below these videos for us. We'll come back and circle back and follow up with you guys. But meet us here. So we're trying, I know we have busy schedules, but we're going to try to be here every Thursday afternoon between 5 and 6. So, catch us here and join the conversation, ask your questions, and let's just build community. All right.
All right. Well, good seeing you. Good talking with you. You have a
Always.
wonderful evening. I know my day is not finished quite yet, but we'll do this again real soon.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye,
All right.
everyone.